financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. A pleasure to be here.
Jeffrey K.
Nice to see you.
Pat Samasco.
Hi, how are you?
Law, how are you?
Good, good. The bowl guy.
The ball guy.
The bull guy. Today's topic, COVID Brightspot.
Oh boy.
If there is one, and it is, you have time to plan.
There's a couple bright spots with that.
I agree.
Yeah, there is.
Now, I want to talk about 4 planning items today. Social Security planning, Social Security disability planning, which is kind of, I'm not suggesting that you want to plan your disability, but if you're disabled, you probably need to plan.
There are tricks of the trade.
Estate planning, using the word planning right in it, and financial decisions with retirement funds. Good plan?
Yep.
You like that? All right, let's start with Social Security planning.
Yep.
Okay, it's one of your big areas.
That's what I do.
Start off, biggest issue people talk about when you're my age
Right.
is should you wait to 70 before you start collecting? I'm 66. I could go collect my full retirement benefit right now if I chose to.
Right.
I know everyone watching, it's amazing that I'm 66,
Right.
but I am, honestly.
Yeah. You look 86, so that's
Thank
good.
you.
So here's
He said 96.
So here's what they say all the time. It's my money, I want it now. Right? So many people collect at age 62. If you can answer me one question, I'll tell you exactly the day that you should collect Social Security.
Okay, ask the question.
Go ahead.
When are you going to die?
I'm
never
die
gonna
between 93 and 96.
Never.
Then you should wait till you're 70. But it's more importantly, when is your wife going to die? Because she's going to outlive us. And if you die, she can collect your Social Security and she will live to 100. So,
Judging by my in-laws, she probably lived to 110.
so there's probably, if you make it to age 90, there's probably a $300,000 lifetime benefit by collecting at age 70 versus collecting at age 62. It's that huge of a difference.
So wait, if you think you're going to live beyond what you're
80, 81,
mid-80s,
82
right,
was the break-even point.
then
For
hold off if you can.
Yeah, Social Security, well, if you can. But then the question is, okay, if we're going to hold off collecting that Social Security, where should we collect our money from to live on? And most people have IRA accounts, right? So when you pull out of an IRA, you have to pay taxes, right? So if you're pulling out of your IRA and you're collecting Social Security, your tax bracket may be higher. So if you want to pull out of the IRA when you're not collecting Social Security to defer it, your tax brackets might be lower, so you're paying less in taxes.
So here's an interesting question. Right now, because of the strange way that the COVID process has changed the law for your ability to pull money out
Right.
this year, is it advantageous if you are headed towards retirement to be pulling money out of your account now?
See, we just wrote an article, I think it was for the Wall Street Journal, on do I have to pull out of my retirement account? Because now with COVID, you don't have to. They suspended it for
Right.
this year, just like they suspended it back in like
And you don't have to
2009.
make required distributions until you're 70 and a half anyway. right?
72 now. They switched
right.
to 70. But that's not the question. Is should you
Should
pull
you?
out?
Yes.
What's your tax bracket?
If
If
it's
you're in
high,
a lower tax bracket, you should be pulling out because your income's lower this year. You're in a lower tax bracket, you should be pulling out and pay the tax.
And isn't there an advantage that now this year you could pull out $100,000
So there's a different question now.
and pay that tax over 3 years?
Well, the first thing is, when can you pull out of an IRA or a retirement account? 59 and a half.
You're allowed to. Right.
Yeah, over 59 and a half, then there's no tax penalty. If you're under 59 and a half and you're affected by COVID, you can pull out of your IRA without any tax penalty. You still have to pay the tax, but then you have 3 years that you can put the money back in as an IRA later on, amend your tax return. So if you don't need it, you can pull it out and pay the tax, and then you can put it back in if you don't need it.
What did that mean? You said if you're affected by COVID.
You
So
don't
who
need.
is the one
it's
that's
just
been
a
There
affected?
isn't anybody
that
on the
says-
planet that's not affected
It's
by
called
COVID.
a qualified individual. I was just researching
Yeah,
that
yeah.
for a client. So that's not going to be a difficult bar.
Well, the trouble is, though, we're speaking, your bills paid off, money in the bank, a retirement account, right? That's so when you start pulling out of your IRAs and you're going to spend it, you ain't going to have that.
Yeah, I mean, I
retirement
look at it
account
this
later.
way. First of all, the tax bracket's not going down right now. I'm working full-time. I don't need the money from the standpoint of the IR. I don't need the money from the Social Security, so wait till 70. You don't need to pull the money out of my 401k because I've got my regular income coming in.
Right.
So just keep holding. How does it work with the spouse? Is it that she gets to pick, in my case she, because I'm the he, my wife gets to take the greater of
Hers
half,
or yours?
or half of mine?
So that while
Right.
you're alive and she's alive, she can pull off of her earning history, or she can take a portion of yours.
I think she gets half of mine.
It's not
she gets the
half
greater
though.
of
No,
half,
no,
isn't
it's
it?
not half.
No?
So half, if she's at full retirement age, she can pull half of yours.
Right.
If she collects at 62, she's pulling 37% of
and then
yours.
she doesn't get to collect half of mine.
Right, it's lower. So
So
it's all
she-
based on the actuary.
So I think the right thing is, I've looked at one, she should wait till she's full retirement age, take her benefit, she's only 2 years younger than me, and then when I turn 70 and I'm drawing, she can then take half of my benefit once I get to age 70.
Right, and then if you pass away, she gets all of your benefit.
Right.
And then she's going to live till 110, and that means if you had collected 62 and she collected at 62, her Social Security benefit would be so small later on. So you try and wait. The higher earning wage earner should wait as long as they can to 70 as possible.
And she should take it at her full retirement age at
When it's-
66, so she's not discounted.
It's
makes
free
sense.
money now though for her. So yeah, she could definitely.
But she never gets half of my 70-year-old benefit. She gets a half of
No,
my...
she get half at 70.
No, she gets half
Right,
of
that's
70.
the whole point
yeah.
of you
Aha.
waiting.
Yeah.
That's a good
It's a
one.
big difference. 25% decrease by collecting at 62, 25% increase by waiting.
There you go. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We'll talk about Social Security disability planning. COVID-19 presents a fight for our personal and business financial survival. You have to make choices. Cash is critical. Do you tap your retirement, home equity line, or run up the credit cards? You need the right plan to avoid being wiped out, and you need it now. You can't rely on the government or banks. Call us. We're the experts in financial crisis. We are here for you and your business in the Great Recession, and we're here for you now. We will create a plan and get through this together. THAV GROSS will solve your problem.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Will I outlive my money?
Medicaid is so confusing.
A will, or do I need a trust?
What if mom needs to go in a nursing home?
At Samasco Law, we have the answers to all of these questions. Our attorneys will eliminate the confusion and develop a plan that's right for you. We are dedicated to veterans benefits, assisted living, and nursing home care. Samasco Law can help prepare you for a long future. Call Samasco Law today.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, welcome back. All right, so we talked about Social Security planning from the standpoint of retirement. What about disability? And I thought about it, it's like, okay, you can't plan when you're going to become disabled, but if you're disabled, are there planning issues now, particular to COVID and always, that we need to focus on?
Sure, and I want to piggyback first on what we talked about with Pat at the end of the segment, talking about when to get regular Social Security. An interesting thing is, if you are going to apply for Social Security disability and you're younger than your full retirement age, so you're 62, 63, what you can do is you can go and apply, take the haircut, take your discounted rate. While you're getting that, you have an application pending for Social Security disability. If you are approved for Social Security disability, you get all that money that you lost because you took the reduced rate, you get all that back in past due benefits, and then your benefits automatically increase to your regular rate.
And that would be important simply because a lot of people don't have any other source of income available to them. So taking Social Security at age 62 might be the only way they can put food on the table, even though eventually, somewhere between 3 months and 24 months, they're going to get their Social Security disability.
Correct,
right?
and it's not going to
have a nice provision.
Right, and people ask me that all the time. What should I do? I'm at 62.
So start collecting.
But collect, and if you're disabled, then we can do kind of both.
If you lose the disability claim, then you're stuck at
That's the downfall. You can't turn it back off again, except that those people typically aren't able to work, even though Social Security
need it anyway.
They can't.
Right.
They need that money.
They need the money.
Right.
Yeah.
And then let's say you succeed on the claim, you can't then say, okay, I want to hold off and not collect till 70 and get the higher benefit.
Correct.
But
You get it. Your
60.
maturity, not the age
Not the
70
70.
where you get the added extra bonus.
Isn't there a thing, though, that if you take your Social Security early, if you can opt back out of it within a year if you pay it back?
Pay it back.
So maybe that's a choice if your Social Security disability looks like it's not
between
getting
62 and 66.
So I can tell you this, though. Yes, that's an option.
Very few
But you got to be
people.
careful, because if those people are coming to me for Social Security disability, those people aren't working. They don't think that they can work. And so they probably are going to spend that money once they get that reduced rate, and they're not going to have the money to pay it back. So it's very...
I'm going to give a
difficult.
suggestion to viewers. Call Jeff.
Yeah.
If it gets to that question, call Jeff and let him walk you through it.
I can imagine if you made the decision to collect at 62, the likelihood that you're going to have the money available at the end of the year to pay it back, realizing that you've compromised your benefit, is probably not going to
Slim
work
to
out
none.
for you.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
It's a long shot. So how are cases, with COVID going on, what planning issues are there? Are cases being handled right now, or how's that going?
So cases are being handled, except that there are no in-person hearings. Instead, what they're doing is hearings by way of teleconference, which is not ideal. You know, it makes a lot of difference when the judge can actually see, feel, hear your claimant. Certainly with regard to social cues, when you're in question and answer and you're all together, there's a lot that's left to be desired when you're purely doing it by telephone. With regard to how I'm handling it,
It's phone, not even video?
only phone. They don't have Zoom yet because...
Oh, they don't?
No, because they're concerned. Obviously, one is they've had issues with Zoom possibly not being secure with people coming onto Zoom who aren't part of the hearing. And we're talking about their medical records, which are very sensitive. So, and second of all, is that most claimants don't have the ability to get that technology in their home, and that would be unfair to them if you
That's true,
forced them
yeah.
to do that, or if that was the only way you could do it. It is by way of telephone, although you have the right to object right now. And with no harm to you, you object, they say, okay, we'll reschedule it. I can tell you right now that this is the way it's going to be. Right now they're scheduling till at least the end of October. More likely than not, and based on what I've talked to my sources within Social Security, at least for the end of the year, because I don't know of any vaccine that's coming out that's going to be mass produced and people are going to take it. So I don't see
Russia.
Exactly. So I don't see anything that's going to change right now between today or tomorrow or next month. So I think at least for the end of the year, if not bleeding into next year, they're going to be phone conferences.
So I suppose
now, have you through just discussions and things like that, have you been recognizing that there might be significantly greater demand for Social Security disability claims because of the damage that COVID is actually doing to people's lungs?
Well, I've noticed two things. So that's one thing.
plus the psychological factors.
Yes,
too.
and we're waiting to see. So everything kind of in the United States happened in February. Really, March is when everyone went on a lockdown around here. So things aren't really known yet as to long-standing impact. But we truly believe that there's going to be some psychological impact. Certainly, there's studies that show that it's going to affect your brain, possibly. So that's one thing. Second of all is that people who are kind of on the fence working maybe with restrictions, the world is shrinking now in terms of employment out there. And when people come back to full employment, whatever that means, not everyone's coming back to work. Employers are going to be laying off people. They are going to be working remotely. They're going to have less of a workforce. And those people that are kind of on the borderline right now, maybe working with restrictions, more likely than not, aren't going to have a job to come to. Those are the first people that are going to be without a job.
I can see how there would be a tremendous increase in the number of psychological disorder claims that are there. I look at the COVID experience from the standpoint of how I feel about it, and I'm working full time and working from home. But if I was in a situation where I was out of work, I was at home, I was worried about, am I ever going to be able to earn a living? What am I going to do once the things get back? I would be going crazy.
Yes.
Because you still go a little crazy. You're stir crazy. You can't go to a restaurant. You can't do anything.
Bonnie said you were crazy when you were shut down for that while.
But one thing you had asked me earlier.
Ask the dog. The dog will tell you whether I'm really
But in terms
the dog's sitting next to me watching.
In terms of planning, still do the same thing. Go see your doctors. And even if you think you're going to be going off of work, it's so important to have that medical evidence to prove your case. So go see your doctors. Most doctors are opening up, even if they're not.
Should
they're
they
doing
call
telehealth.
you first for guidance?
Absolutely. I will talk them through it, figure out what they need to do so that they make certain that they present their
The
case.
thing I see people making the mistake is this is not a do-it-yourself environment.
Not
it
at
doesn't
all.
work that way. You call Jeff, get the advice when to file the application, how to file the application, and what goes into it. Do it the right way. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll do more planning issues.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV Gross today, 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to remind our viewers to sign up for our monthly contest. Free $100 Visa gift card, Lawn Reality hat, and copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Just go to the website, lawnreality.com, pop your name in there, and you're registered. We have a webinar coming up. You can stay in your home, attend our webinar via the internet, ask questions, everything that you could do in an in-office seminar. The next seminar is Wednesday, September 16th, 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m., Debt Relief, Your Path Forward. we're going to go to all the ways in which we address debt. The key is to preserve future income for you and your family so that you don't allow your past debts to use up your future income. We're going to talk about solutions using bankruptcy and solutions outside of bankruptcy. We'll have a special segment for small businesses facing debt and closure issues due to COVID. Attendees will get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Sign up at thavgross.com or lawandreality.com. Also remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. We're doing consultations via teleconferencing, phone conferencing, and also in-office consultations with social distancing rules applied. Feel free to take advantage of a free consult. They're not meet and greets. We analyze your problem thoroughly, figure out what the best solution for you is going forward. Call 888-235-HELP or go online at thavgross.com or lawandreality.com to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business issues, elder law issues with Pat Samasco, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner, criminal law issues with Scott Weinberg. Sign up at lawandreality.com or call 888-235-HELP. Also, check out the website. We have free reports. Brand new report, Resolving Tax Problems by Jeff Linden and myself. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formation Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit, and The Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Samasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
COVID-19 presents a fight for our personal and business financial survival. You have to make choices. Cash is critical. Do you tap your retirement, home equity line, or run up the credit cards? You need the right plan to avoid being wiped out, and you need it now. You can't rely on the government or banks. Call us. We're the experts in financial crisis. We are here for you and your business in the Great Recession, and we're here for you now. We will create a plan and get through this together. THAV GROSS will solve your problem. All right, next planning issue. What protections, Pat, need to be in place for elderly people so if they need emergency Medicaid
right now,
planning?
There's one, and only one. You need a financial power of attorney. You've got to have that power of attorney. That, if you look at all the things out there, that's the tool in the toolbox that I need as a lawyer to do all the planning for the...
Why is that
Wait,
so
but
critical?
Pat, everybody I know already got one.
Yeah.
They've had it for years.
Yeah,
They worked for Chrysler or Ford
Right.
or General Motors, and they got one through the legal services plan.
Right.
Is that one good enough?
So I went to an antique show last year and I saw one of those rotary phones. That's what they had. You can't fly a helicopter on that roller. You need the iPhone or whatever, the Android. So those power of attorneys are not the same, and the language and the paragraphs in them are not the same. And if you're a UAW, you get the free UAW. Great lawyers, the power of attorney is archaic. It doesn't have the language that I need
For Medicaid planning.
And this is the problem. If you're in the hospital, they're not letting us go into hospitals and assisted livings and nursing homes to sign them up. So you got to have it signed up before you get in there, or we're literally passing papers through windows and through doors and mail chutes. Luckily, they allowed us to start doing DocuSign. You ever try and get grandma who's 87 years with beginning of dementia to figure out which button to push on the...
That's hopeless.
Yeah, so that's the financial power of
So
attorney.
those old powers of attorney, the ones that are outdated.
No, it's not. No.
No, I've
if
seen
you got a
couple
power of
years
attorney
ago.
last week and it wasn't done by us, you got to have it reviewed, because lawyers say, "Hey, which one? Here, sign here." They don't know what's in that power.
What is the what's in it that needs to be? What needs to
Medicaid
be
planning,
in it? Excuse me.
Medicaid planning, government benefit planning, going to court if we need to, gifting, all the things, creating trusts, changing beneficiaries on accounts, all those things, none of the power of attorneys, the typical power of attorney has them. It's like you have a family doctor and now you got cancer, you're going to the cancer specialist.
Right.
You're trying to get Medicaid planning done with your family doctor when you need the specialist
I
to
see a
do
lot
it.
of those powers of attorneys have a lot of restrictions, and that's the opposite
We
of
don't
what you
want the
You
restrictions.
don't want those
Yeah,
restrictions.
yeah.
All right,
Yours
so-
are perfect. You know why?
Because you did them.
But see, that's
Good
the thing.
man.
You're the estate planning attorney, but if you're looking at from estate planning, it's different than Medicaid
Right, and
planning.
we got together.
Yeah,
so we
that's
said
how
we
it
have
works.
to make sure that what we're doing is going to
And we
fall
share our
into your place.
documents.
Right.
We want people to have the right stuff because that's the tool. You need that medical record to get your Social Security. That's the tool you need. You need your bank. You need your credit. Those are the tools that you need. We need the power of attorney.
All right, short one for you, Brian.
Ready? I'm calling him on that one.
Elderly couple. It's short because we only got a minute and a half. Richard and Norma.
We're going to put him at the end every time.
You got $5,000 a month coming in Social Security. Their house is paid for. They got an IRA, $250,000. They got $400,000 in their 401k.
Sounds like they're doing
They
great.
got $150,000 in savings.
They're phenomenal.
But they got $100,000 of credit card
Oh,
debt.
not so good.
They're paying $2,500 a month on their credit cards. The question is, do they pay off the credit cards?
No.
What do they do with them?
Well, because at this point, quite honestly, they're not a bankruptcy candidate because they have too much in savings. This would be the perfect candidate to do debt resolution, settle those credit cards for less than full value.
What about my credit score?
Who cares? It doesn't matter. The credit score is irrelevant. Credit score will heal. It will come back. But they will have, instead of having $100,000 less in their savings, they'll have maybe $40,000 less.
What about
in
the credit
savings.
cards? They're going to lose their credit cards, right?
They have cash. They're living. They're retired.
Could they ever get?
don't need it.
Could they ever get another credit card?
Yes, absolutely.
Of
Easy
all
as
the
pie.
Richard and Normas out there, how many of them do you think would agree with what Brian's saying? How many of them would be worried about their credit score?
Every one of them.
You'd be ripping the pen out of their
Yep,
hand.
every one of them, and every one of them would be making a mistake.
Yeah.
Instead of wasting $100,000 by paying off the credit cards, you can pay the credit cards off, settle them for debt resolution for $35,000,
35, 40, yeah.
You may have to pay some taxes on it, but you're already in a low tax bracket because you're in retirement.
And you get to keep the rest of the money, whether you spend it till you're 110 or leave it for your grandchildren.
Richard and Norma, I don't expect you to believe me right now on a basis of 2 minutes.
But believe me.
Before you pay off those credit cards, call us, come in and talk about it, and we'll save you that $60,000, $70,000 on the other side. Have a great week, everybody. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality. Thanks, guys.